Sonia Jimenez was more than a mother. She was a force of life, energy, and joy, whose presence could transform any ordinary day into a celebration. Born in Mexico in 1971, Sonia carried her culture, her family values, and her love for life wherever she went. After becoming a U.S. citizen, she moved first to Arizona, where her eldest daughter, Jessica, was born, and later to Texas, where she continued to build a life that centered on her children. Sonia wasn't the type of parent to sit on the sidelines. She danced in the kitchen while cooking, twirled around the living room with her daughters, and made even mundane tasks feel like an occasion. Jessica remembers how she and her younger half-sister Danielle would follow their mother everywhere. She was never embarrassed, Jessica recalls. Mom was always herself, and that made us feel proud to be her daughters. Sonia loved Spanish music, and often she and her daughters would spend hours dancing around the coffee table, laughing and spinning, creating memories that would carry them through the most difficult times of their lives. Even at family events like Quincy Eras, Sonia could be found at the center of the dance floor, her laughter infectious, her energy unmatched. Sonia had a striking presence. Standing at 5'8", she moved with the confidence of someone who knew herself inside and out. Her style was bold, colorful hair in many shades, from blonde to red to black, eyeliner tattooed on her eyelids, perfectly manicured nails, and high heels that made her tower above many. Her daughters fondly remember the embroidered corset she wore, showing off the playful and loving confidence she had in herself. But Sonia's external beauty was matched by her inner strength. Jessica recalls that her mother rarely let hardship show. No matter the financial struggles or challenges she faced, she always carried herself with dignity and grace, focusing on creating the best life possible for her children. Her devotion to her daughters was unyielding. She dreamed of seeing them succeed, graduate, and grow into strong women. While her life was vibrant and filled with laughter, it was also defined by care, responsibility, and love. Sonia's home was filled with warmth, music, and movement, a sanctuary of safety where her daughters could be themselves. Outside of family life, she maintained a close circle of friends, sharing morning coffees and late-night outings, balancing her roles as a mother, friend, and vibrant personality. For Jessica and Danielle, Sonia was not just a mother. She was their anchor, their role model, and their best friend. She left an indelible mark on their childhoods, a mark that would remain even in the face of tragedy, shaping who they would become as individuals and as sisters. Sonia's life, full of love, light, and energy, serves as a reminder of the joy that one person can bring to the lives of so many. Jessica Sabaz, at 15, experienced the deep bond of family that Sonia nurtured with unwavering devotion. Sonia ensured her daughters never felt alone, never felt unloved, and always felt celebrated. Her care was especially evident with Danielle, the youngest of her children, who at 3 years old, followed her older sister everywhere. Jessica remembers the little moments, Danielle banging on her door, asking to play or imitating her mother's dance moves, that made family life rich, chaotic, and full of joy. Sonia's love extended beyond her immediate family. She took pride in her appearance and her culture, sharing with her daughters the joy of self-expression and confidence. Friends described her as the Mexican Tina Turner, a woman whose presence was magnetic, whose energy demanded attention, and whose laughter filled rooms. Whether through her vibrant style, her love for dancing, or her ability to hold herself with pride, Sonia modeled for her daughters a life of authenticity. At home, Sonia's life was a balance of routines and celebrations. Morning routines included dropping Jessica at school, enjoying coffee with friends, and planning her day. Evenings were reserved for socializing, dancing, or quiet moments at home with her daughters. She surrounded herself with the people and activities that brought her joy, fostering a household where laughter and warmth were constants. Her daughters' memories of her are deeply intertwined with these daily rituals, the spinning in the living room to a Spanish ballad, the shared laughter over breakfast, and the playful competitions of who could dance best. These moments weren't just fun. They were lessons in resilience, in enjoying life despite hardships, and in loving fiercely. Jessica remembers her mother's ability to remain composed and strong even in moments of personal struggle. Sonia's determination to give her daughters a stable, happy life shaped their upbringing. Danielle's early years were equally filled with love, care, and protection, thanks to a mother who always put family first. Every teddy bear in the house, every brightly colored shoe, every carefully planned outfit reflected Sonia's devotion to crafting a joyful world for her girls. The innocence of childhood, the carefree laughter, and the love between mother and daughters defined these years. It was a life built on stability, affection, and unforgettable memories. Little did Jessica know that these cherished moments were soon to be violently disrupted, leaving a scar that would never fully heal. The morning of July 31, 2006 started like any other for Sonia Jimenez. She was meticulous in her routines, careful to ensure her daughters were safe and happy. Jessica had been dropped off at school, and Sonia had taken the opportunity to run errands and visit friends, all while maintaining the rhythm of her daily life. Little did anyone know that day would mark a devastating turning point for their family. That evening, Sonia visited a friend's apartment in Channelview, Texas. It was a familiar place, somewhere she felt comfortable surrounded by people she trusted. As night fell, the normal sounds of a quiet suburban neighborhood, distant traffic, dogs barking, the hum of streetlights, masked the danger that would soon erupt. Surveillance cameras from nearby businesses would later show Sonia's silhouette walking through the parking lot, a figure unaware of the violence about to strike. Hours later, tragedy struck. Sonia Jimenez was brutally attacked and stabbed outside the apartment complex. Despite efforts to get her to Memorial Hermann Hospital, the injuries proved fatal. The life that had been filled with laughter, dancing, and unyielding love was suddenly extinguished. Sonia's death sent shockwaves through her family. Her eldest daughter, Jessica, then only 15, was left to grapple with grief, confusion, and the horror of losing her mother in such a violent and senseless way. The chaos of that night did not end with Sonia's murder. While the family was still coming to terms with the devastating news, Jessica faced another unimaginable horror. She had been entrusted with caring for her younger sister Danielle that evening. In the midst of the confusion, Sonia's estranged husband, Leandro Jimenez, entered the trailer where Jessica was babysitting Danielle and took the 3-year-old child. The abduction occurred just hours after Sonia's death, leaving Jessica not only mourning her mother, but fearing for her sister's safety. Law enforcement quickly arrived at the trailer park, informing Jessica and the rest of the family of Sonia's death and the subsequent kidnapping. The sense of safety that once surrounded the girls had been obliterated in a matter of hours. Leandro Jimenez, Sonia's estranged husband, was a known figure to police, with records indicating a history of domestic violence. Law enforcement immediately considered him the primary suspect in both the murder and the kidnapping. Investigators pieced together a timeline showing he had tracked Sonia to the apartment complex and committed the stabbing in a premeditated act of violence. The motivation was believed to be rooted in their estranged relationship, a history of conflict, and possible custody disputes. Yet, while his actions appeared calculated, the ripple effects of his violence were immediate and devastating, leaving 2 young girls without a mother and one missing entirely. For Jessica, the night of July 31st was a blur of shock, fear, and helplessness. The weight of losing her mother, coupled with the sudden disappearance of her sister, forced her to confront trauma beyond her years. She recalls replaying the events in her mind, wondering if there was anything she could have done differently to prevent the tragedy. This night, forever etched in her memory, marked the abrupt end of innocence for the family. From the warmth and laughter of their home to the cold reality of a crime scene and missing child, the shift was sudden and irreversible. The violence Sonia endured and the abduction of Danielle would set off a long and painful journey of investigation, grief, and unanswered questions. For the family, the reality of that night remains an enduring nightmare, one they have faced with courage, determination, and the hope that justice will someday prevail. Sonia Jimenez, once a beacon of joy and love, became a symbol of resilience for her daughters, who would carry her memory with them as they navigated the aftermath of one of the darkest nights of their lives. In the immediate aftermath of Sonia Jimenez's murder and Danielle's abduction, law enforcement faced a complex and urgent situation. Harris County Sheriff's deputies were the first on the scene at the Channelview apartment where Sonia had been fatally stabbed. Crime scene investigators quickly secured the area, documenting evidence and taking witness statements, all while working against the clock to locate Danielle, the 3-year-old now missing under suspicious circumstances. The combination of homicide and child abduction elevated the case to a top priority, drawing attention from multiple agencies. Police quickly focused on Leandro Jimenez, Sonia's estranged husband. His history of domestic violence and the strained relationship with Sonia made him the prime suspect. Investigators believed he had been tracking her movements and saw the attack as a deliberate act. Witnesses reported seeing a man leaving the scene shortly after the stabbing, matching descriptions of Leandro. Officers obtained photographs, previous addresses, and background information on him, piecing together a timeline of his movements in the hours leading up to the murder. The community reacted with a mixture of shock and fear. Neighbors described Sonia as a vibrant, loving mother whose presence had always been welcoming and warm. The idea that she could be attacked in broad daylight outside a friend's apartment was unfathomable to those who knew her. Parents were concerned for their own children, while friends and extended family tried to provide support to Jessica, the eldest daughter, who now faced the impossible task of grieving while her little sister remained missing. Local media quickly covered the story, amplifying the urgency of the search and highlighting the horrific nature of the crimes. Investigators faced particular challenges in locating Danielle. Unlike adult suspects who may leave digital trails or interact with others, a child abduction presents unique hurdles. Police issued Amber Alerts, contacted surrounding jurisdictions, and coordinated with federal authorities to track down leads. They examined surveillance footage, monitored phone and financial activity, and relied heavily on community tips. The clock was against them. In child abduction cases, the first hours are critical, and every minute could mean the difference between recovery and tragedy. Meanwhile, for Jessica, the aftermath was overwhelming. At 15, she was confronted with grief, fear, and confusion simultaneously. She struggled to process the murder of her mother while grappling with the disappearance of Danielle, a sister she adored. Friends and family became her support system, but even their words could not erase the trauma of witnessing such violence firsthand. Law enforcement provided protective measures and counseling referrals, but the emotional toll on Jessica was profound. She later described the night as a blur, one that she constantly replayed in her mind, questioning whether she could have done anything to prevent the horror that unfolded. As the investigation progressed, evidence pointed increasingly toward Leandro. His prior records of violence, combined with witness testimony and the timeline established by police, framed him as the central figure in both the murder and abduction. Detectives also examined the environment of Sonia's life, her friendships, routines, and the places she visited regularly, to understand how the events could have been anticipated and prevented. Forensic teams analyzed the crime scene meticulously, hoping to uncover physical evidence that could link Leandro directly to the murder weapon and to the abduction. Despite the rapid mobilization of resources and investigative efforts, the case remained fraught with challenges. Sonia's murder and Danielle's disappearance left a permanent scar on the family and community. The investigation highlighted not only the brutality of the crimes, but also the resilience of those left behind, determined to seek justice, recover Danielle, and honor the memory of a woman who had touched so many lives with her joy, strength, and love. With Sonia Jimenez gone and Danielle missing, the focus of law enforcement shifted to locating the 3-year-old child before it was too late. Every minute counted, and the community braced itself for the unfolding crisis. Police quickly coordinated with multiple agencies, including local sheriff's deputies, the FBI, and child abduction task forces, mobilizing a network of resources to search for Danielle and gather critical information. The case immediately became a high-profile investigation, drawing attention from national media, neighbors, and advocates for child safety. Amber Alerts were issued across Texas and neighboring states, describing Danielle and the suspect in detail. Authorities released photos of the little girl, hoping someone would recognize her. The description included her age, height, hair color, and distinctive features, as well as details of her clothing and the Barney stuffed animal she often carried. Tips poured in from the public, some credible and others false, requiring careful evaluation and follow-up by law enforcement. Officers canvassed neighborhoods, checked local bus stations, and visited relatives and known associates of Leandro Jimenez, determined to trace every possible lead. Investigators also relied on behavioral analysis to anticipate Leandro's actions. Experts examined his past patterns of violence and known behaviors to predict where he might have taken Danielle. Law enforcement believed that his familiarity with the family's routines and local geography gave him an advantage in evading capture, but authorities were committed to outpacing him through strategic planning and rapid deployment of resources. Police reviewed surveillance footage from stores, traffic cameras, and other public locations, hoping to spot traces of Leandro or the child. Meanwhile, Jessica Sabaz, traumatized and grieving, became an active participant in the search. Though only 15, she provided essential insights into her family's life and her estranged stepfather's habits. She recounted routines, favorite locations, and potential safe havens where Danielle could be hidden. Her testimony was invaluable to investigators working to piece together the puzzle and locate her sister before harm could come to her. Jessica's resilience, even in the face of profound loss, was a testament to her character and her mother's influence. Community involvement played a crucial role. Neighbors, friends, and local volunteers joined search parties, distributed flyers, and shared information online. Social media amplified the effort, spreading Danielle's image and details of the abduction across networks in Texas and beyond. Churches, community centers, and local organizations offered support to Jessica and the family, helping to maintain morale and ensure that no potential lead went unexplored. The emotional weight of the search weighed heavily on all involved, as hope and fear existed simultaneously. Despite exhaustive efforts, Danielle remained missing. Every lead was pursued, every tip investigated, yet the trail seemed to vanish at times. Law enforcement remained committed, emphasizing the urgency and danger inherent in prolonged abductions. The case became not only a personal tragedy for Jessica, but a stark reminder of the threats faced by children in vulnerable situations, and the challenges of protecting them from those who would do them harm. As the days turned into weeks, the search for Danielle highlighted the ongoing tension between hope and despair. Every step forward in the investigation was met with the emotional reality that time was running out. The story of Sonia and Danielle Jimenez, filled with love and light, had been violently disrupted, leaving a community and a family searching desperately for answers and justice. The efforts to locate Danielle continued to serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of safety and the enduring impact of one individual's actions on the lives of so many. The days following Sonia Jimenez's murder and Danielle's abduction were marked by chaos, heartbreak, and a relentless pursuit of answers. For Jessica Sabaz, the teenage daughter thrust into a nightmare she could never have imagined, life had been irrevocably changed. School, friends, and the routines of daily life suddenly felt distant and irrelevant. Every waking moment was dominated by thoughts of her mother's brutal death and her little sister's uncertain fate. The emotional toll was immense, but Jessica's determination to honor her mother and help find Danielle became her driving force. Law enforcement continued their investigation into Leandro Jimenez, the estranged husband and primary suspect. Officers meticulously compiled evidence of his past violence, his estranged relationship with Sonia, and his potential motives. Interviews with neighbors, friends, and family members painted a picture of a man who was volatile and capable of extreme actions. Investigators also focused on tracing his movements, examining phone records, known associates, and past addresses to anticipate where Danielle might be hidden. The pressure to locate the child before any further harm came to her was palpable, and every lead, no matter how small, was followed with urgency. The community's response played a critical role in supporting both law enforcement and the family. Local volunteers organized search parties, distributed flyers, and coordinated with authorities to provide tips. Churches and support groups offered counseling and assistance to Jessica, who was grappling with grief and trauma while navigating the realities of her sister's disappearance. Social media became a tool for spreading information and keeping the case in the public eye, amplifying the search efforts and creating a network of eyes and ears that extended far beyond Channelview. Texas. As the investigation unfolded, law enforcement faced challenges common in cases involving estranged family members. While physical evidence linked Leandro to Sonia's murder, tracking Danielle's location proved more difficult. Each day without resolution intensified the emotional strain on Jessica and the family, while also increasing the urgency for police to prevent the suspect from evading justice or harming the child further. The case exemplified the complexities and heartbreak inherent in domestic violence-related crimes, particularly when children are involved. Despite the tragedy, Sonia's memory became a source of inspiration and resilience for her daughters. Jessica drew strength from the vibrant, loving, and fiercely independent woman her mother had been. She remembered the joy of dancing around the living room to Spanish music, the warmth of Sonia's laughter, and the unshakable love she had shown for her family. These memories fueled Jessica's commitment to keep her mother's spirit alive, even in the face of unimaginable loss. For the community, Sonia became a symbol of strength and courage. Her story a reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Today, the case remains a chilling reminder of the dangers posed by those closest to us. Law enforcement continues to pursue leads related to Danielle's disappearance, and the memory of Sonia's life and death drives both the investigative efforts and the family's advocacy for justice. Jessica and her loved ones have channeled their grief into awareness, ensuring that the story of Sonia and Danielle serves as both a cautionary tale and a call for vigilance against domestic violence. The pursuit of justice continues, with the hope that one day Danielle will be found and the family can find some measure of closure. The aftermath of Sonia and Danielle's tragedy underscores the profound impact violent crime has on families, communities, and individuals. It also demonstrates the resilience of those left behind, who refuse to let fear and despair dictate the course of their lives. Through perseverance, support, and an unyielding commitment to justice, Jessica and her family continue to honor Sonia's memory, keeping alive the hope that, despite darkness and loss, the truth will ultimately prevail